1 second ago, we heard a loud boom come from the back side of the days in here. We aren't sure exactly what just happened. Driving into this, I saw this playground just flipped on its side here, laying up against the fence. This is actually the bottom of it right here, and I want to show you where it came from. You can see this sandbox here in this backyard. Getting a better look now at the damage. Firefighters just took out some lights to actually light up this entire building. You can see the roof is collapsed. I want you to listen to this real quick. That is water draining here on one of the streets. Detectives, they were inside processing the scene, and now they're out here. They're looking at that red truck to see if there is any more stolen property inside. After they finish investigating, they'll be able to figure out exactly what charges they will pursue. Oh, it's a lot of smoke, and it's actually kind of deceiving because when I walked around the corner a few minutes ago, you could still see flames all inside of this building. One thing that's so impressive about the people in this community is their willingness to help one another, and it's not just in the aftermath of this tornado with all the debris on the ground. He says he woke up to a man and woman here pounding on the side of his home. They had to walk about 200 feet to get here, even climbing through fences. You can see it here. Over the past hour and a half, this has really started to build. Before, I wasn't able to grab any of the snow, and now I'm really able to pick up a lot of it. We're on pieces of concrete, crime scene tape, and the biggest sign something happened here. The ATM is missing out of the drive-through line. That's what scared me the most about first walking through here. And coming up at 8 o'clock, we're actually going to be talking more with some of the actors who are experienced here. They saw 3 vehicles inside the middle of this lot on fire, but they had a tough time getting to them. This sign is the reason why. One of the unique things about this building is every single classroom has these windows. So if I wave to them, they can wave right back to me by getting these Clorox disinfecting wipes. Just keep this bottle in your car and use one to wipe down your steering wheel. It's going to be used to test it out. What you do is you put it up close to the door, and you can see the flame here. It's going upright. 4 of the guys who were injured were here at Station 7. They were asleep inside when they got the call, so they came running out here, put on their bunker gear, and hopped inside, heading to the fire, never thinking they wouldn't come back here. In their 7 years of marriage, Tanya Bell rarely thought about her firefighter husband getting hurt. Running into burning buildings was just part of the job. But on September 5th, that changed with a phone call.
When I initially got the phone call that he had been injured, I didn't know what to expect. I just knew that he was on a fire, had gotten injured, and they were going to the emergency room with him. And obviously, I thought the worst. And it did cross my mind that something could have happened to him.
Matt Bell was one of 8 firefighters burned. At the hospital, Tanya wasn't alone.
I started thinking, like, how I'm going to explain this to my kids if something drastic happened.
The reality is of those injuries only now being shared with the public. Matt has 3rd-degree burns on his right hand and 2nd-degree burns to his ear. Mary's husband, Rashim, has burns to his ear, leg, and hand.
They told me I had diagnosed me with 3rd-degree burns to my right hand and told me that I would have to have a skin graft, and I didn't really know what to expect. But I know what it's about now, and it's not a fun process.
For Matt, it still could be months of rehab until he can go back to work. But the hard times made easier for all the families by having the support of fellow firefighters who were at the hospital 24/7.
That means so much to the families that were there, because if they wanted to leave, to go take a shower, they didn't have to worry about it because somebody was always there for them. But just seeing all the guys, it's still surreal how bad they were burned.
It's created a bond between the 8 men that can never be broken and formed new friendships between their families, giving them all a new perspective on life.
We take day to day for granted, and after this, it's like, I'll never take my husband for granted again. It's like I'm gonna cherish every moment that I have with him.
Even though 4 of these guys are missing at the station right now, a few of them will be back as early as next week, but for others, it'll be a long road to recovery. Reporting in Midtown, Melissa Hawks, Fox 23 News. We've met some amazing people this week, and one thing that's so impressive about the people in this community is their willingness to help one another, and it's not just in the aftermath of this tornado with all the debris on the ground, but even before, I spoke to one man who opened up his storm cellar to his neighbors. From the handprints and sketches on the walls, it looks like this is a child's room.
You go into a storm cellar, it's terrifying. So what we did was we had them all come over here and we give them different colored paints, and what they did was they went in there and they painted different designs.
This is Doug and Jan Yodely's storm cellar. Last year, the couple had all the children in the neighborhood come over and paint the walls to make sure they'd never be scared to go inside. When Monday's E5 tornado touched down, 10 of his neighbors, including some of those kids, were sitting inside.
We texted all of our neighbors who always come over here to let them know that we're not going to be here. The gates are open. We left the storm cellar doors open so everybody could get down in here.
The Yodelys weren't with them. They were 60 miles away watching the tornado on TV.
We watched the tornado as it actually came right over top of our house.
Homes next door blown away, roofs ripped off, cars thrown in the street. But his neighbors walked up these stairs and opened up the cellar doors untouched.
Damage to the house and all that, we're not even worried about that. It's making sure that our neighbors, our family is safe, and that was what was important.
Reinforcing this quote written on the storm cellar's wall: "Not only are we neighbors, we're family." And these neighbors continue to help each other this morning. They're very dedicated to make sure they're all moving forward together in this process as they rebuild. Reporting live and more, Melissa Hawks, Fox 23 News. On one of the worst days in Rusty McKellar's life, hugging Governor Mary Fallin brought a smile to his face.
Never hugged.
Never hugged the governor. You never had a house burned down either.
She toured Creek County, seeing the wildfire's destruction firsthand. Miles and miles of burned up land and leveled homes.
To the families that have lost their homes, we're deeply saddened and sorry, but we'll move on. We sure appreciate you.
And giving a big thank you to firefighters.
I know they've been under tremendous stress. They have worked days without having any sleep to the point that they were just worn out.
More than 30 fire departments from across the state have come to Manford to help. Tyler Hott says this wildfire is unlike anything he's ever seen, and for now, there's no stopping it.
We'll set up in front of the house and just kind of, with our grass rig exam pumpers, just push the fire away and just let it burn past the house, and then we just move on. This morning we watched one, burn to the ground because we didn't have the resources, the water supply.
Firefighters say one of the most difficult things about fighting this was the fire was so unpredictable. This house here is still intact and standing, but if you take a walk with me over here just about 15 feet away, this grass is all charred, and this used to be a 3-bedroom house. It's all leveled. Neighbors say it only took 20 minutes for it to go down. Unfortunately, this is the case across the county.
It was really eerie coming up Viner, 51 coming off the highway. I mean, that's when it really kind of set more in.
McKellar, like many of his other neighbors, saw the flames coming.
How much notice did you have before the fire hit you here?
Well, we was kind of threatened the night before, and as it was still probably back a couple miles, 30 miles, and we had packed up then what we thought was necessity.
His family isn't left with much, but he's still thankful his wife and son are alive. But as the wildfires continue to burn, the threat isn't over. Governor Fallin offers words of comfort to McKellar and people across the state.
Oklahoma is one of the best places you can be if there is a tragedy, because our neighbors are wonderful. Neighbors come out and help with fellow neighbors and do a great job.
In Manford, Melissa Hawks, Fox 23 News.
Governor Fallin